Can you believe Brian McKnight actually went online gloating about winning his lawsuit, chest out, victory tone and all, bragging about how the liars, aka his ex-wife Julie, now owes him millions?
Been a long journey getting to this day, October 16th, 2025, but we are here in the English countryside, about an hour and a half outside of London, and the verdict is in. We've been quiet, listening to liars continue to lie and keeping to ourselves, living and loving our life, as we said, leaving everything in God's hands and letting our lawyer do the talking. But according to the courts, trying to ruin my name and trying to bring harm to my family in a book filled with lies equals $8.8 million.
And wait, hold on. He did this on his late son Nico's birthday of all days. OMG. But here's the twist. He might have celebrated a little too early because while he was busy patting himself on the back, Julie was plotting, and he's reportedly not ready for what's about to hit him next. I mean, guys are just about done with Brian at this point. But you know what? Let's just get right into breaking down his shenanigans. So what happened was that Brian McKnight was out here bragging about winning his lawsuit, saying he and his family had been quiet all along, just watching liars continue to lie while they focused on living and loving their life. The celebration came after Julie, the mother of Brian's late son, reportedly failed to appear in court to respond to claims connected to her book Mama Bear, Beautifully Blended, released in January. Apparently, Julie didn't show up to court, so he filed a motion for a default judgment and is waiting for the court to finalize the decision. But that didn't stop him from celebrating in advance. According to Brian, he said they'd left everything in God's hands and let their lawyer handle it. And now, according to him, all those attempts to ruin his name and harm his family with a book full of lies had cost someone a whopping $8.8 million. He even hinted that this was only the beginning, like he wasn't done yet. He also posted a voicemail.
It's been a long journey getting to this day, October 16th, 2025, but we are here in the English countryside, about an hour and a half outside of London, and the verdict is in. We've been quiet, listening to liars continue to lie and keeping to ourselves, living and loving our life, as we said, leaving everything in God's hands and letting our lawyer do the talking. But according to the courts, trying to ruin my name and trying to bring harm to my family in a book filled with lies equals $8.8 million. And this is just the beginning, because anyone,
presumably from Julie, about their since-deceased son Nico, where she said, "Do not text Nico again, do not call Nico again." As the audio played, you could see him hop and tap his feet together in the air as Julie continued, "Leilani, if you are also checking these messages, that goes for you as well. I am very serious about this. I am very serious about this. Do not text him, period. Period. Please understand that. And Brian, you know me. You know me, and you know that. I mean what I am saying to you." As for the details of what was in the lawsuit, the suit alleges Julie made false claims about Brian in her book Mama Bear, Beautifully Blended, basically calling him a BS of a husband and neglectful father to their children. Okay, can we get something straight? First of all, I'm not even sure why Brian was celebrating yet, because Julie still has a couple of days left to respond. Number two, while Brian was busy celebrating, the internet was not having it, and followers were absolutely floored, and not in a good way, that Brian McKnight chose that day, of all days, to strut online and gloat about his courtroom win. I mean, on his late son Nico's birthday, the same Nico he's been accused of erasing from his life and memory, the same son he allegedly disowned alongside his older kids. It's one thing to move on with your life, but it's another to use a day that should have been about remembrance and love to brag about a legal win. Did he even know it was his son's birthday? Or did he intentionally post the video on what would have been Nico's birthday? Honestly, at this point, no one would be surprised if it was the latter. The timing was too specific to just brush off as coincidence. Plus, remember, at the time when Nico passed on, a source close to the family said that Brian did not contact or see Nico, and he had also not reached out to the family in the wake of his passing. Instead, the source said that Nico was surrounded by an abundance of love and support from those who truly mattered in his final days. This included his mother, Julie McKnight, his older brother, and his wife, among other extended family members. However, if you ask Brian McKnight, he will tell you that these are all just lies, and that he kept an open communication with his son, and even tried to help with the bills when he learned that Nico had no insurance. But his mother called him and told him to leave Nico alone. Apparently, that's why he even filed the lawsuit. After Nico passed on, Brian posted a tribute, and instead of just making it about Nico, he decided that it was a good time to call out the family members, especially his brother Claude and Nico's mom Julie, saying, A big thanks to Claude McKnight's tasteless and self-aggrandizing announcement on TikTok that frankly was not his to make. In my opinion, he inserted himself and used Niko's death as an opportunity, instead of letting him pass with respect and dignity. It has instead turned into a circus, a mockery of a life now lost, making this tragedy into a reality show-type drama. In his post is also where he slammed Niko's mom, saying that she stood in the way of top-notch medical help he allegedly offered Niko. He also said he had maintained the door of communication open to his son until his passing, but he and his mother refused to accept the help. Brian even called Julie a self-proclaimed mama bear and said that God should have mercy on her soul for not allowing Niko to accept that help and not allowing him to use that line of communication. He also said, "There is great comfort in knowing God knows the truth and the totality of the whole story. I am truly thankful for the immense peace God has given me. I've left everything in His hands. I have a clear conscience. The only judgment that matters is God's." Basically, Brian was saying that it was Julie's fault that Niko died because she refused to let Niko get help from him. However, Julie also made various Instagram posts on paying tribute to her late son and kinda addressed Brian McKnight's distance, or at least alluded to it when she said, "He is more than an estranged son, than a sensational headline. He is the purest, sweetest human we've been blessed to have. He is a loving husband, caring and playful uncle, the other half to his brother, and a fierce protector of his two sisters, a friend and mention to many, a talented photographer and gifted musician, a son that I was gifted that I will forever be proud of. His legacy of kindness, laughter, generosity, and strength will live on. That's my boy, and I couldn't be prouder." Baby, at the time people could not believe that Brian was blaming Julie for Niko's death, and now he's literally celebrating a lawsuit against his ex-wife, and he posted the same video on Niko's birthday. Like, how does he even expect people to believe he's not being malicious? Especially since this same Niko that he based the lawsuit on actually called him out a few times for abandoning them when he was still alive. For instance, there was a time Brian was receiving backlash for how his biological daughter Brianna feels about being disowned, while he praises his stepdaughter Julia online and, instead of acknowledging Brianna, he called Julie his one and only daughter. Then he went on to suggest that his children are evil and a product of sin. According to him, it was necessary to rid them from his life in order for him to find happiness. This is what really got to Niko, and he responded to the comments saying, "I'm evil. That's wild. The guy who used to make me clean his used condoms out of his bathroom at 15 before Lisa got home is calling me evil." Then, in a separate comment, Niko added, "The guy who forged cigs on our names is evil." Again, another time, Niko also talked about the estranged relationship between him and his father, when he wrote in a round of tweets, "When I was about to die in the hospital from complications from my cancer, I just wanted to bury the hatchet and hear him say he loves me, and he told me he couldn't arbitrarily tell me he loves me. Still cuts so deep. Sometimes I wonder if my dad's karma is my close proximity to death. Like maybe if I end up dying, it'll release him from this grip of evil. If I could just have one more group hug between me, my brother, my mom, and my dad, I'd truly be ready. Every day I feel so embarrassed by how things went with our dad. When you're faced with a situation like mine, it quickly shows you what really matters, and family matters the most. I miss my family so much. Everyone." In other tweets, Niko also said, "We were bad children, sure. Yes, but my sisters have always deserved better. They don't deserve this outright disrespect. Hate us all day. You don't get to be a piece of ish forever and still skate by with all that we know. We saved that man from federal prison. That's all I'm going to say. But after all of this, I still love him so much because I know there's my dad in there somewhere. But he's a drone now. So sad. Miss you, Dad." Based on what Niko said, their dad was still not interested in having a relationship. So people said that it was wild that he said after Niko died that there was a line of communication that was open, and even wilder for him to blame Julie for their son's death, yet she was the present parent. To a lot of people, this just makes the lawsuit even more ridiculous. His other son, Brian Jr., is not here for whatever revenge his father wants to serve. Brian reacted to the post, and this is what he said. "I've tried, man. I've tried really, really hard to not touch on Ish, to let it go, be the bigger person, be mature. But the Ish going on with my dad right now, if y'all aren't seeing what's what's happening. If y'all aren't seeing the fact that this is a very hurt and a very emotionally unavailable and not intelligent person that is still not being able to handle the death of his own mother to decide to make certain posts on my late brother's birthday. In addition, he also said that his dad doesn't want him to start talking about the things he had to deal with in his childhood, the things he would take to his grave, and the things his late brother had taken to his. He also hinted that there were things they could reveal because, according to him, their father hadn't been emotionally intelligent or mature enough to actually be a father. He actually labeled his dad and the post petty and ridiculous, and then concluded by asking, "Who are you trying to hurt if it's not me and my mother and my family?" This is truly sad, but there are people who actually said that Brian provided proof that he was trying to contact his son, and the son's mother was stopping him, like he said. So he proved that she did, in fact, lie on him. But then again, we're only getting a voicemail. Brian might have been provoking his son and the mom, which we have seen him do. What I'm wondering is, did Brian really think he could pull this off without some serious backlash? Did he forget the internet never forgets? Well, some sources have claimed that Julie is not done with him, and while he thinks he's won, things are going to change really soon and Brian will be embarrassed. She actually took to her Instagram story to seemingly react to him recently, alleging he won an $8.8 million judgment against her, and shared a screenshot of their case file, circling that the status of their case stands as pending. Personally, I'm not sure what to think of all this drama anymore, but you let me know what you think of the lawsuit and Brian posting that video on Niko's birthday in the comments section below.